hit the button, boom, hit the button, boom, hit the button, boom.
Action!
4 feet of LED tube. Let's talk about 4 feet of LED tube from Godox. So, the tube space is a hot space right now. We've got, as always, the Asteras and the Quasar tubes up there at the top with every feature, every integration. They're going to work with everything you want to work with. And then, we've got like the ones we can actually afford to buy, or often the ones we can afford to rent. Apertures, Nanlite V2s, and now Godox is in the mix. They started more in still photo, but they've been moving more into motion the last couple of years. They've got a nice soft light, they've got a nice integrated ecosystem. Their app is not the worst in the world. And they're out here with 4 lights. Now, before I do anything else with these, you know I like to respond to criticism. People pointed out with a reach in one of my videos, they're like, all we care about is how bright things are. So, I've got this at 100%. You guys should all know my light meter by now. It's a Conic 508. I don't have the 508 Cine because I never cared. And why do I use the 508? I use the 508 because it takes a AA battery. People have heard me say it 1,000 times. I've been on too many jobs where, like, we're in the jungle in Panama and somebody's light meter dies, and, like, all the new meters have these, like, fancy little, like, photo batteries, and you gotta, like, send somebody to the shop, and, like, sound department will always have a AA. This is still the one I trust the most, that I send to Georgia Quality Metric the most often. 800 ISO, 24 frames per second. That is the default I use for almost all my testing. And here we go, we got a tape measure out because everybody's like, how bright? At exactly 3 feet. Roughly 5, 6, 8 split. So, you're getting a 5, 6, 8 split when it's at full dim. You're getting a nice amount of punch out of these. I've not always talked about tube lights in terms of punch because it's not an obsession of mine. Like, 95% of the time my tube lights are out there not at 100% punch. But what you do get out of a more punchy tube light, or more volume of light out of a tube light, is you get to walk them further away, right? So we look at this all the way up close, and we can see that you're getting, you know, light is all about relative size, and if I get further away, my relative distance, there's less drop-off. When I'm up close, you see quite a lot of drop-off, and psychologically that's how I know the person is quite close to the unit, but as they get farther away, I can move them around more. So, you know, that's when you can get these slightly further away, which is nice about it. But what makes these units different than the others? First off, I do have to point out Godox has a very nice carrying case. They've got nice little pull cords for each of the lights, so you don't have to get your fingers all tucked in. They're held in with Velcro straps. They're very well thought out in terms of being a case. The lights are on the top, all your accessories on the bottom. If I have one criticism, I'm 43, and I really wish one of these sides had wheels. Like if I had wheels over here and a handle over here so I could like wheel it. It's not too heavy, but it's like close to being too heavy. I've had these for about a month. But the 24-year-olds are out there carrying it fine. I'm not 24 anymore. I'm 43. Wouldn't mind little wheels on one side. And then you've got all your accessories on the bottom. You've got places for all your chargers. You've got places for all of your sort of accessory mounts. This is clamps on the light, and it's got a little V-mount if you're V-mount powering. They have internal batteries, of course, but if those didn't charge and you want to run in a V-mount, there's a V-mount cable adapter and a V-mount thing for the light, so you can put your little V-mount batteries on there. You've got your little plastic clip mounts that have the screw-ins, that if you want to screw it into the wall or the floor, or a little light stand. You've got Ethernet cables if you're running it into DMX over Ethernet. They even have little egg crates, which I think are really useful and going pretty quick. But I want to get to the actual, my favorite of all the accessories. These puppy come with a remote control. And I know you're all thinking, a remote control, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to watch it work, and you're going to say, but Charles, that remote's so slow. I'm turning it down, and then boom. This isn't a remote control you're going to use for effects. If you're thinking, oh, there's a remote control, I can have a light come on in a scene, and as soon as the actor hits the switch, I'm going to hit something here. Hit the button, boom. Hit the button, boom. Hit the button, boom. There's a delay. I don't care. Why do I like the fact that it's remote control so much? I mean, first off, just AA batteries, no weird batteries. I love that. Secondly, if there's one thing I've gotten used to in the last couple of years, it's that everything runs on Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is much better than I thought it was gonna be. But here's the issue I've been having with Bluetooth. The more Bluetooth shit I get running on set, and the more I depend upon that Bluetooth shit, the more it cuts out at me in weird ways. My current habit, honestly, at this point, is if I'm running Bluetooth, I get a Bluetooth device for everything I'm controlling. The problem with using your phone to control it is I think as long as you keep the app open, phones are really good at keeping that Bluetooth control. But as soon as you switch over to check your Instagram or to check your email or to check, your Brightwheel app if you've got a kid in school, I think that connection gets weak. So right now, if I have Aperture going, I've got an old iPad for that. If I've got my SERP Genie going, I've got an iPad for that. And that's starting to be a lot of iPads, and even old iPads, because you can't go too old, because then they don't work. You can only go like 3 or 4 years old where they're supported. But these have been out with me on a couple of shoots, and this thing, which doesn't seem like that big a deal, has been like an absolute screaming life changer. Because you just have instant control. You tape the light up, you put it where you are, you're not pulling out your app and switching to the app, you're not keeping a dedicated thing, and you're just setting the white, I'm switching between white balances, I'm setting my dim level, quick, easy, unique. Now, I wish the Godox had wheels on one side of their case. I think that would be like a very handy little thing if we had some wheels over here. Minor quibble, very small. Other minor quibble, I wish this had like a clamshell protective cover. Because this thing is going to live in your pocket. And I totally did a take on a job where the gaffer had been using it and then put it in his pocket. And then he was leaning at the monitor and this pushed against something and he didn't feel it. And then the door opened for the take and the whole scene was green. And then we cut and we reset it and we realized what had happened. But like, how nice would it be if there was some sort of like flap down, flap up cover that like protected it? I suspect what's gonna happen is I'm gonna find some sort of hard plastic little Pelican case so it can still go in your pocket, but it's protected. But I think that kind of thing would go really far. These are very small criticisms because overall, for the price point, the package the Godox is rolling out is kind of insane. You've got the remote control, you have the app control if you want it. You have DMX control over Ethernet. You can run really long lines over Ethernet. You can hook together with Ethernet. So you have all of the control modes you could possibly want. You have all of the built-in. Godox even has Roscoe filters and Lee filters built in. So if you're on a job and you're cycling through, and the DP is saying, all right, let's take all our tungsten units and let's put like Roscoe 9406 on it. I can put in Roscoe 9406, and this is designed to theoretically perfectly match with your Roscoe 9406. This is something we're starting to see more manufacturers do, and now we're in our Lee filters, and so if you've got someone who's like, all right, I want Lee 131, you can throw up your Lee 131 and have it match. I like that Roscoe and Lee are putting in the effort to work with companies to be able to mimic lighting gels. I feel like Godox has done sort of a nice thing with putting these together. So, what are my overall takeaways? I think this is a very nice, very functional indie kit. I really like that it comes in a hard case. I feel like if you were young, the lack of wheels, not a problem. If you are of the middle-aged contingent, little wheels might be nice in version 2. Figuring out a nice little cover for this is going to be great, but frankly, the sneaky little key feature here has really been having a physical remote as opposed to having to go through an app. Again, Godox actually has a really nice app. I've been using their app a little bit with the 150 flat panel, and I think it's actually quite nice. The problem isn't the app or the lighting company. The problem is your phone, if you're using your phone or when you switch it back. I really think it's a nice little kit that Godox has put together here, and I think it is well worth investigating if you are thinking about tube lights in an affordable space. Alright, this was a quick little review of some lights I've been playing with. I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming, so please ask questions in the comments. I try and answer them. Please like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe because apparently that is important. I will be making more videos whether or not you subscribe, but it would be nice if you subscribed. And everybody have a nice day.